Okay, Ashley is up, followed by Nathan Fay.
Hello all. So once again, Dr. Ashley Fischer. I am a pediatrician locally and a resident of Morton for the past 10 years. I do have a speech, but first I want to address something that was said about how no one deserves to be unsafe or feel unsafe or be harassed. Why do you think we're here? Why do you think all of us are here? There are children, and I want to remind you, they are children. They are 8, they are 10, they are 14. They are children. And they have to go into school every day where it is unsafe and where they feel unsafe and where they are being harassed. That is why we're here. We agree. None of these kids should have to feel unsafe or have to be harassed. So please, stand up for them. So, I did spend a lot of time last time talking about a lot of things that I know we're going to disagree on. So this time, I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the things that we agree on. And I know that's a little surprising to think that we may agree on some things, but I promise you we do. So I recognize there's a lot of people in this community who are not going to agree with me when it comes to minority group civil rights. But we do agree on 2 things, I'm pretty sure, and that's reputation and money. So the reputation of this town. So I know I cannot be the only one that looked at that when I was buying a house in Morton. It has a reputation for excellent school districts, for a safe, close-knit community, and being a fantastic place to raise a family. I am willing to bet you care as much as I do. However, Morton has now been in the statewide news 4 times over the last couple of years for incidents of bigotry and harassment towards marginalized groups. I know many of you saw the comments under the Principal Saunders and articles that were saying, really? Morton again? So if we continue down this path of discrimination, I promise you, it is not going to be long before we are on the national stage and Morton's reputation of racism and bigotry is going to be cemented in the national psyche. Already, families are moving away from Morton or choosing not to move here because of that reputation. That's not the future I want for our town, and I'm assuming it's not the future you want either. So let's talk about the next thing I'm pretty sure we agree on, which is money. I'm fairly certain almost every citizen of Morton knew about the low property taxes when they moved here, as the city officials have continued to work hard to maintain these low taxes. Since my speech at the last board meeting, I've had a huge outpouring of support, which I'm very grateful for. But with that outpouring of support came new harrowing stories of harassment in the Morton School District. Students that have had to leave to be homeschooled. Students that transferred, or families that transferred their kids to private schools, and some who actually moved away from Morton to escape that harassment. These cases are well documented, and many of them have physical evidence to prove it. So how does that relate to taxes? A lawsuit. There are now enough families with enough evidence to very easily win a civil rights lawsuit against the Morton School District should they decide to collaborate and mobilize. Yet despite that liability, members of this board, including Superintendent Smock, have continued to provide even more publicly available evidence of civil rights violations over the last couple of weeks. While you may not morally agree with protecting the rights of Black and LGBTQ students, it's still the law, so you're still bound to follow it. And when you don't, you're opening up the entire district to liability. A successful lawsuit would cost the district millions that is going to come out of the taxpayers' pockets. I don't want to pay for that lawsuit. I assume none of you do either. So I'm hopeful we can then agree to take steps to prevent that by ensuring these civil rights violations don't continue. This train is only going to keep moving forward, so you guys can either figure out a way to get on board or you're just going to get left behind. There's too much at stake now for people to forget or to back down. So we're going to continue to show up at these meetings and we're going to continue to shine a light on the actions and decisions of this school district. But anyone who knows me knows I'm not one to just come here and complain and not come prepared with solutions. So I did a little bit of your job for you and I went ahead and wrote an amendment for the policies. The one I'm going to be presenting today is an amendment to policy 2230, public participation at school board meetings and petitions to the board. Harassment of any kind by speakers or audience members will not be tolerated. Harassment for these purposes shall refer to any unwelcome verbal or physical conduct which offends, denigrates, or belittles any individual because of their actual or perceived race, religion, color, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, or disability. Such conduct includes, but is not limited to, unsolicited derogatory remarks, jokes, demeaning comments or behaviors, slurs, heckling, mimicking, name-calling, profanity, and innuendo gestures, threatening, bullying, or any ad hominem attacks. First lifetime violation of this policy will result in a verbal warning by the school board president. Second will result in immediate removal of the perpetrator from the school board meeting, as well as suspension from in-person appearances at all future board meetings. Suspended individuals will still be allowed to submit their comments via writing to be read aloud at the school board meetings. I've made copies of this proposed amendment for the board members, and I'm hopeful this will ensure that anyone on any subject can participate in advocacy without fear of harassment and safely. Thank you for your time.
Nathan Fay is up.